In South Africa's most infamous prisons, real power isn't held by guards with keys. It comes from something much older, much deeper. It's built on fear, rigid structure, and absolute silence. Inside the walls of Pollsmoor prison, one name still echoes. Not in official records or shouted across the yard, but in hushed whispers. A name that belongs to a man reportedly dead for years, yet his influence remains. John, known only as Mongrel, the alleged leader of the feared 28's gang. His story is a chilling reminder that, in a place like this, death is not always the end. Pollsmoor Prison, just outside Cape Town, is a world unto itself. It's not just the extreme overcrowding that defines it. It's the invisible systems of control that have existed for over a century, long before South Africa's democracy. These are the numbers gangs, the 26s, the 27s, and the 28s. Each has its own domain, its own rules, ranks, and brutal punishments. The 26s are said to focus on accumulating wealth. The 27s are the keepers of the law, the mediators, and the 28s. They are known as the soldiers, the enforcers. They wield violence as a tool of governance and fear as a method of discipline. At the very top of this violent hierarchy, according to prison law, was the man they called Mongrel. Trying to find official information on John Mongrel is like chasing a ghost. There are no press photos, no interviews, no public trial transcripts that paint a clear picture. He exists almost entirely in the shadows, in the stories passed between inmates. But when you talk to former prisoners, warders who spent decades inside, and academic researchers who study the gangs, a consistent image emerges. Inside Pollsmoor, his authority was absolute. Orders were said to move from cell to cell, block to block, often without a single word being spoken aloud. Punishments were carried out swiftly, without question or hesitation. You didn't need to see him to feel his presence. You didn't need to hear him to know he had given an order. His power was a palpable force, an unseen hand guiding the daily life and death of the prison. Understanding leadership within the numbers is key to understanding Mongrel's power. It isn't about being the loudest or the strongest man in a fight. True power is symbolic, ritualized, and fiercely protected by a code of silence. A genuine leader in this world doesn't need to throw a punch himself. He decides who does. He is a strategist, a general in a war fought within concrete walls. And according to multiple accounts from within the prison system, Mongrel understood a fundamental truth of this environment. Fear spreads much faster and more effectively than physical violence. An act of violence punishes one person, but the fear it creates controls everyone. He mastered this psychological warfare, turning the entire prison into a web of unspoken rules, where the consequences for breaking them were terrifyingly clear. His reign was built not on constant brutality, but on the ever-present threat of it. Then, around 2014, whispers started to circulate through the prison grapevine. John Mongrel was dead. The stories about how it happened were conflicting. Some said he succumbed to a long illness. Others hinted at an internal power struggle, a silent coup within the 28s. A few maintained that the real story would never leave the confines of his cell block. There was no official announcement, no newspaper headline, no detailed explanation from the Department of Correctional Services. His existence was a rumor, and so was his death. But amid the uncertainty, one fact became chillingly clear to everyone inside Pollsmoor. Nothing changed. The structure, the fear, the rules, they all remained perfectly intact. How could the death of such a powerful figure have so little impact? Because the numbers gangs are not built around individuals. They are built on continuity. They are institutions designed to outlast any single member, including their leader. The system is the source of the power, not the person who currently holds it. Ranks are passed down through established rituals. The intricate laws and codes are memorized and taught to new recruits, passed from one generation to the next. When a leader is removed, whether by death, release, or internal conflict, the structure doesn't collapse. In fact, the seamless transition of power only serves to prove how resilient and deeply entrenched the system is. Another soldier simply steps up to fill the void. Mongrel didn't need to survive for the brutal architecture he commanded to endure. His death wasn't a disruption, it was a testament to the system's strength. Today, nearly a decade after his reported death, the legacy of John Mongrel is still an active part of Pollsmoor's culture. New inmates, young men entering the prison system for the first time, are still taught the same codes, the same hierarchies, and the same terrifying consequences for disobedience that were enforced under his command. The name Mongrel is still spoken, but with caution and respect. It's used not to refer to the man himself, but as a symbol, a warning, a reminder of what true, absolute power looks like in this world. His story serves as a lesson. In a place like Pollsmoor, power doesn't die with a person. It just adapts, finds a new host, and continues its reign. We often ask how gangs manage to survive and thrive inside maximum security prisons. But maybe we're asking the wrong question. Perhaps the real question is how the prison system itself survives the powerful ancient structures that operate within it. And more unsettling still, how many stories like the one of John Mongrel begin, unfold, and end entirely behind those walls, never reaching the outside world. Thank you for watching.